Next segment of the program for the WMT Mid-Morning Show, we've going to take a look at parenting. Parenting in a 2020 survey, and Melissa Polksa joins us. She is a parenting specialist, also author, speaker, entrepreneur. Hey, Melissa, thank you for joining us this morning on WMT.
Thank you guys for having me.
What did we learn in this survey, the 2020 survey, Parenting in 2020? How has it really changed?
That denial is the best policy. All these parents are denying that they have a favorite.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, that's one of those things that So we just had one son, only child, so we didn't do the favorite child thing. But I know families of two or more that conversation always comes up. I mean, is there a favorite child, or is it just you're treating different children differently because of their personalities?
I think it's a little bit of both, and you hit it right on the target. Treating different children differently because they have different personalities. No child is ever the same. Mm-hmm. Some children require a little bit more of your attention than the others. Some are just easier to handle and deal with. But you also have to think of some other aspects that come into play, like personality traits as a parent. I know my oldest is very similar in personality-wise as me. And so we butt heads a lot because we're too much alike. And so my youngest and I, we have a more opposites attract kind of thing. He's a little bit more like my husband. So he's just easier to get along with some days when mommy hasn't had as much coffee that she needs in the morning.
Yeah.
Some days are easier with one than the other.
Yeah, and you want to really, it's kind of a dilemma in a way because you want to encourage that individuality coming out of the kids, but, that by definition is going to say you treat them differently. Not that it's in a bad way, but it's just your approach to them are a little bit different.
Right. Your approach to them is what you said. It's very, very, very important. Communication is key, especially with children in any kind of relationship. Communicating with the children on why mommy and daddy do certain things is very important. It's also very important to know that actions speak louder than words. So the way that your actions display to them towards one child or the other, if you don't be careful about that, one can perceive that you may favor the other one. I know my oldest I have a special needs little guy. Mm-hmm. My youngest understands that because he's a little bit different, he requires a little bit more of mommy's time. So if I didn't communicate with that or didn't he understand that fully, he could probably perceive that he's not the favorite. So communication is key, and actions really do speak louder than words in parenting.
As a parenting specialist, though, you don't really want a cookie-cutter approach for all your kids right down the line. And in the effort of being fair and in the effort of being equal, that almost can be, a step back in parenting.
Yeah, absolutely. I know you hit it right on the target, too, in this picture-perfect cookie-cutter parenting. I know myself, I waited a very long time to have children, not too long, but I read every parenting book. I always wanted to be a parent, and I was ready. But what God gave me was something totally different. Mm-hmm. I had all these special needs. I didn't know what to do. But there was no book not one book did I read that could teach me how to parent my child than my everyday activity.
It's all about really just kind of maximizing their creativity, and you have somebody that is developing all along. You're there you're on the front line of so much child development, and that's what, to me as a parent, is just so great to see them blossom, to see them take their talents and use them, to encourage them to use their talents, because you can kind of stand away and say, hey, I'm looking at you, and you are really gifted in these particular areas. You need to go for it.
Yeah, there's absolutely no greater reward. Absolutely not.
Yeah, what are some of you go out in the speaking circuit from when it comes to a parenting situation, what are some of the really kind of the anxieties that parents have nowadays?
That exactly what you said, that their action, like the choices that they make for the children aren't the right ones. Everybody worries about that. Mm-hmm. And there really is no right or wrong way. I think it's very important that a lot of parents understand that all we're really doing is rolling with the punches to put less pressure on ourselves and less pressure on our children. Because, it's a trickle-down effect. If we don't feel like, if we're self-doubting our actions and decisions for our own children, what do you think that they're doing? Because they can feel that from your actions and vibes that you give off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And just sharing that time with them to talk. I really, I discovered there was a point when my son was in his teen years that picking him up from school, he just had that blurt out of his entire day right there in front of me. And I said, this is golden because, after, a while, if it's 3 or 4 hours later, what happened at school today? Oh, not much. But, you got that golden zone where he came in, it was fresh on his mind. He hopped in the car and he was able to tell in great detail what his day was like. And you could share that with him.
Right. Every child's different. My boys are the same, one-worded answers
when
when they get in the car after school.
Yeah, and different ages bring different type of conversation challenges, I guess would be a way to put it.
Right.
Yeah, and how to communicate it with them. Melissa, do you, do you have a book or something that you could recommend that really would help parents kind of find their search and help their journey?
I don't have the Bible would be one.
Okay, well, that's always a good preference. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
I mean, what as each day unfolds, it brings new adventure, especially as a mom. I mean, I have a little guy who's 7, and every day is. I mean, he's a clown. He's full of personality. He's a little ham. He makes so much excitement every day. But I know that, it could be, setting the toilet paper in the bathroom on fire, or he could be an angel. You just never know. So to read or recommend a particular book, just because every child is so different and every day is different, I don't have one particularly, no. But my greatest advice is to get you a mom group or a dad group and talk about these things with other parents, because there's most likely what you're hard on yourself for and what you're experiencing, they're experiencing the same thing, and we all need somebody to talk to.
And that's always a great support group. I do want to ask one question as a parenting specialist. Social media, are there some ways to just guidelines of how much and how, because it's so prominent in kids' lives now?
It is. It's the way they communicate. My son was upstairs last night, and he texted me off Instagram to bring him something. I was like, "You're kidding me!" No, son, that's not how that works.
Yeah, okay.
But they are. That's the key, and that's how they communicate, and that's how. But as parents, I also think that it's important that we restrict and limit and control what they're exposed to. But at the same time, we can't prevent their future growth and the environment around them, because that's what they have to grow with, and that is their future. And we have to adapt with that.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. And yeah, it's one of those things. Obviously, you had mom confused with Amazon, order something and it comes right to you, right?
Right, yeah. Okay. My son always says when he sees something, he's like, click buy.
Yeah.
Not go to the store and get it. Click buy, Mom.
Yes, it's a whole new world. Okay. Well, thank you, Melissa. We really appreciate the time you took to talk to us about some of the challenges in parenting, as we reach 2020. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Melissa Poksa, who is